Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Women's Soccer Season Preview. We're glad you are here joining us on this Thursday evening. We know that the NFL season's getting ready to start tonight, so we're glad you're able to get with us this evening. I'm sure we'll have this wrapped up before then, but we're going to talk a little about the other kind of football tonight, as we've got SCU Women's Soccer on the docket this evening. I'm here with Juan Castillo right now, head coach of the women's soccer team, a team that went 6-10-2 in 2019, including 4-4-1 in the Sooner Athletic Conference, which happened to be the best conference performance in program history. One of the highlights of the season was coming away with the draw late in the season against number 10 John Brown in Siloam Springs. So very big performance there for the Eagles late in the season. This team is featured with a combination of key returners and impressive newcomers. Some of those returners include Piper Woodard, Jasmine Snellick, Brittany Anthony, MELO, BACA, and Megan DESHAZO, all of which are represented were represented last season on the All-NCCAA Central Regional team. So we will hear from MELO and Megan here in just a little bit. But as I said earlier, this squad is led by second-year head coach Juan Castillo, who took the program to new heights last year. As I talked about, best conference performance in program history, and they had a couple of all-conference selection as well, and so look primed to take them even further this season. We are one game into the season this year. Last Friday, a hard-fought game with Friends University. Friends was able to take it 1-0, but a lot of positives that we'll let Juan get into a little bit that came out of that game. So with all of that being said, Juan, how you doing this evening?
Good. Thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be here.
We're glad you're here and excited to have you and the girls on in a little bit. Excited to see what happens this season. So as I talked about, we had that first game last Friday with Friends University, and obviously didn't quite turn out the way you'd want, but a lot of positives from that game. So what did you see from the team last Friday that you think you can take with you throughout the season?
Well, it was our first actual game as a team. We haven't had a chance to, do any scrimmages. So this was our first game, and I believe the girls did pretty good. We tried to control the game, set the tone, the tempo of the game. And I believe that we did that. Unfortunately, Friends got away with one early goal, and then we tried to press and just do our work, but we couldn't score. But I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously you were able to get off more shots than Friends in that game, and certainly seemed to control possession throughout that game. But it's got to be tough when a team scores in the first minute, and then that happens to be the decider.
Yes, but that's soccer. Sometimes the best team doesn't win, so that's okay.
Yeah. Well, yep. It's nice to get those kind of games out early and get to move forward. This year is obviously gonna look a little bit different. Already has looked a little bit different with everything going on with COVID-19 and obviously every college trying to deal with it all. So I'll just start off asking you, how has COVID impacted the team this year?
Well, overall, the only thing that has impacted us is that we had to push back our preseason. So we lost about 2 weeks of preseason that I believe, it was going to be a 2-a-day time for us to get our philosophy of play in place. So that kind of, we had to push that back. But other than that, we've been able to practice after, August 15, and the girls have been staying healthy, and not much of a change other than just day by day watching all the other colleges, what they're doing, if they're staying in the game or they're pulling out or, all that stuff. But overall, it's been good, I think.
That's good. One of the things that's really going to be different, though, that we'll definitely start to see the effects of, I'm sure, later on, but the fact that now we will be having some games in the fall and some games in the spring. Non-conference games in the fall, moving conference games to the spring, and all of a sudden that kind of changes the feel of what would that be, a 3-month season all of a sudden becomes a 9-month season. So what's that going to be like? And how do you approach all of a sudden a prolonged season in that aspect?
Well, I love it because where I come from, that's the way that we play soccer. We play
Right.
all year round. So for us to do that now, it gives a chance to prepare in the long run and to have our players, not force them into season right away after starting in the fall, which it was always hard to come in and then get them into the classroom and get them into,
Right.
preseason and then games, and it was all too quick. So this way, it gives us time to work through everything that we need to do tactically, and they
Right.
get used to the school and all these things. It's a little bit, I feel, is a little bit more at ease on that aspect. So it gives
Certainly.
more time. Yeah, but I love it. I love that. That's the way I grew up.
You think the team loves it? You think they enjoy staying on top of things that long?
Well, they haven't said that they hate it,
Fair enough.
So far, so good.
We can ask Mello and Megan here in a little bit and see what their thoughts are on that. But kind of going back a little bit to last season, the team really seemed to come together towards the end of last season. Obviously it was a little bit of a rough start, especially going through a tougher non-conference slate, going 1-6 to start out. But you all would end up going 5-2-1 over the final 8 games, and talked about that draw against number 10 team on the road to close out the season. So what are some of those things that really started to click for the team and for the girls in that latter half of the regular season?
Well, I think, just like any other team, when a coach starts, on the first year, it's a transition process, and it's me getting to know them and them getting to know me.
Certainly.
And, we're just trying to work through all those different situations, and like I said, it's so rushed. It was so rushed in with having, transfers coming in, and so it's always been like a little bit, and especially we didn't have like a very strong base because we had players leaving, and then we didn't have the numbers to have a really deep roster.
Right.
So I think that the more we play together and practice together, the better they got to know each other, and then overall they put that on the field, and it just works out like that. So.
Yeah, we definitely could see that second half of the season, that communication, that kind of trust of one another, and it certainly seemed to come together really well.
Yes.
So again, coming off 500 conference record, especially, and a really impressive second half of that season, what are your expectations for the team for this upcoming season?
I really expect the team to play how we practice. That's what I always wanted. Is something that I tell the girls all the time, because they have such good practices, and the way that we try to do things with simplified soccer. So as long as we stick to that philosophy, I think we're going to be fine. So my expectation is just that we can put in practice what we do throughout the week.
Right.
And, just try to take advantage of all their talent, and hopefully, they believe in themselves, and then they can put it into work. So that's what I expect.
Definitely, and that's absolutely what you want to see, and I think in order to do that, obviously you want that team to have that close bond, and that kind of certainly helps build that camaraderie within the team, and you all took that retreat to Robbers Cave. Is that correct?
Yes.
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
Yes.
Took a retreat to Robbers Cave together to prepare for the upcoming season, and have that time just to come together as a team. What do you think are some of the positives that came from that experience for the team?
Well, the positive was that we put the girls in an environment that it was almost they were forced to hang out with each other, because we were isolated. Like there was nobody around. It was just us, and some of their cell phones that didn't have a good signal.
Right.
So it was pretty good, for them to actually, get to talk and just get to know each other. And it was 4 days, but I tell you what, it felt like 4 months.
Oh, yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
50-50.
Fair enough.
No, it was very tiring. It was
I'm sure, yeah.
rewarding, but it was very tiring. I mean,
Right.
I'm old, so.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if I could do all that. But yeah, it seems like some great things came out of that, and the team really came back with a strong bond from that experience. So looking at some of those players, and now that you've had that time with them and gone through practice and one game into the season, who are some of the players on the team that you really are expecting to see break out this upcoming season?
Well, I mean, I'm expecting everybody that we recruited to come out and work hard and we're recruiting for a reason. So we expect that everybody kind of takes that step. I can tell you who has impressed me throughout all this time. I mean, obviously the returners have impressed me. MELO is coming in a great shape, like soccer wise and mentally wise. I'm pretty proud of her. Marlene Carvajal, right now she's on fire. I mean, she's all over the place. So I mean, I'll say that all my returners are doing really good. And some of the freshmen that we're impressed with, it's Janessa from Arkansas Aguirre. She's doing pretty good. Kylie Ott, Ali. I mean, man, it's hard to just
Yeah.
one name, but and then we have transfers too that have been doing an amazing job on and off the field. So that also has helped the team to click in a way that is taking us to the next level. So
Certainly. Well, you mentioned those returners, and obviously here in just a couple minutes we're going to have Mello and Megan, and I'm going to have a chance to sit down and talk with them. But what are some of the things that you can tell us about these two seniors? Tell us about their playing style or their leadership, their strengths. What are some of the ways that they really help this team?
Well, Megan is a girl that I met 4 or 5 years ago in Tulsa area, and I coached in the same club that she played. And it's a player that I always liked the way she moved off the ball as a forward. She always finds those gaps and spaces that nobody else sees. And she's a good finisher, and she's hardworking, quiet leader that it's always on the go. So I love that about her. And her style is pretty dynamic.
Yeah.
She's hard work. It's pretty dynamic. I coach her in JUCO, so thankfully she followed me here, so that's good. And Melo is a player that I coach against in JUCO as well.
Okay.
And she's coming from Butler, a really good program, very successful, with high expectations. And she's a player that when her former coach Adam told me about her, that she was looking still. I was very interested in getting her because, I mean, she's a player with a lot of potential.
Absolutely.
And it's one of those players that can break lines, is so skillful, and the way that she thinks and sees soccer is so fluid that I love that because she's almost like it's hard, it's hard to define her because she's so just like free on the field.
Right.
It's just like natural. So I love that about her, even though sometimes we bump heads. But it's because I relate with her a lot. Like we feel the game. It's just like a passion. So, but she's amazing. So too. So.
That's great, and yeah, here at SCU, we're definitely fortunate to have those two and have them on the field for us. So looking forward here in just a couple minutes to talk with them. But I do want to get one more question in with you before we move on. Obviously, tomorrow we're back in action, traveling to Muskogee for first road game of the year. This is a team who unfortunately wasn't able to put together a full team last year, resulted in a forfeit in the game that was scheduled for us to play against them. So what are some things that you're hoping to see from your girls tomorrow in the first road action of the season?
And just stick to our way and style of play, and not because it's we're going to play against a team that is new. We're just going to try to do whatever we want, but, continue to play, our style and as a team. And just, the ones that come off the bench also to prove to us that they want to be starters. So, we want that inner competition that is very healthy for a team. So that's what I'm expecting for them, to put in practice what we've been working on for this past weeks.
Well, very excited to see the squad back in action tomorrow as they will be taking on Bacone 3 p.m. 3 p.m. in Muskogee. So excited for that action. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a short break. We're going to get MELO up here, and we're going to get a chance to talk with her for a little bit. So short break. Don't go anywhere, and we will be right back. And we are back here at the women's soccer season preview. I am now joined by MELO BACA. MELO is a senior midfielder out of Wichita, Kansas. Getting a nice picture there from Juan. So we're glad you're here, MELO. Last season, 2 seasons ago, played at Butler Community College. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. So out at Butler, you've always been a force out there on the pitch, doing a little bit of everything across the field. Last year, putting up 5 goals and 3 assists. So doing a little bit of everything. So we're glad you're here this evening, MELO. And how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, honestly. Really doing good. It's good to be here, honestly. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we're certainly glad that you're here. Obviously, you've had a great career so far at SCU, and excited for your senior season. So I'm just going to start off and ask you, what brought you to SCU?
Well, actually, I had a hard time finding what school I was going to attend. I actually did commit to another school in Alva, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I had decommitted because I had found Juan Castillo. So, yeah, talking to him, getting to know the game, knowing how he coaches and stuff. And like he said earlier, he has the same passion I show with soccer. So he kind of got me with there.
Able to look past the headbutting and everything?
Oh, yeah, even though we do headbutt it sometimes. But that's the game, it brings you. And then, sometimes you, love it. Sometimes you're going to bump heads with people that you
Yeah,
you know,
forces you to be better, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, we're definitely, as I've said multiple times tonight, we are glad you're here, and we are lucky to have you and have your talent out on the field. So what has been the best part of your experience at SCU to this point?
I guess, getting to know everybody. Of course, I come from Kansas, so I basically played with the same people I was around with club. So it was just a new atmosphere here coming out to Oklahoma, and playing with different people. It was something I needed to adjust to, and I
Right.
did. But it was good, and meeting new people was always the best thing for me, honestly.
Yeah,
Just creating those friendships and all that. So
definitely. Yeah, you got people coming from all over a little bit and
Oh,
getting a
yeah, for
chance to
sure.
do that. Yeah, that's awesome. So obviously this year is gonna be a little weird. I talked a little bit about that with Juan. Well, I shouldn't say gonna be. It's been weird.
it's definitely been weird.
So yeah, obviously, school got shut down last year. People got sent home. So how has all this COVID stuff affected you personally?
Well, honestly, it's been really crazy. Personally, it hasn't really affected me as much, of course, but it's like everything around the world is kind of going crazy. So
Yeah,
it's
no
like
doubt.
chaotic right now, especially with, practicing and all that stuff. We have to do like protocols just to be sure that we are all being safe and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing coming in, like not just us we have to be safe, like other teams, so that way we could, like, of course, play games and stuff. That's what I'm more concerned about, is us being able to play a season.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
yeah.
And how do you feel about the half the season in the fall, half the season in the spring?
Honestly, I actually love it. I mean, from going to club to high school, you'd always play club. I was always playing all year round, so
Yeah.
actually being able to do this, it gives us time to play with the ball more. So
Definitely, yeah.
I enjoy that. I like being on the field as much as I can. So actually doing this year, it's awesome.
That's awesome. So, so has it affected your training at all with everything going on? Did it have an impact on how you were able to prepare for this season?
No, not really. Just just the extra protocols you have to do. I mean,
Right.
it's, same old. Get on the field. Do your thing on the field. That's what you do. I mean,
Definitely.
you just kind of, if the field is basically somewhere you can go to get away from all that chaos.
Right.
So
Then
yeah,
that's nice to have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. So what are some of those things then that you've been doing to prepare for the season? Are there specific aspects of your game you've been working on?
Well, for me, I'm kind of, after the first game, I kind of realized that I am being, like, marked or whatever. So it's for me to, like, learn how to move away from people, or, like, making space. And also my communication skills, it was very hard for me to communicate how I was feeling last year on the field. So that was a big thing I had to work on this
Yeah.
year. And so I've been doing pretty good. I'd
That's
like
good.
to say I've been doing good anyway, but
Senior leader.
yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do for not just me, but for my teammates. So
Definitely. So, so kind of on that idea of being a senior leader, what do you view as your, or I guess, a few of maybe your main roles that you have on this squad?
see, I think my main role, I just play.
Yeah.
I really just play. I work hard as much as I can. I mean, I hope to show the girls that, me working hard and me doing what I have to do on the field, wanting them to do the same thing. I want them to, what I like to say is to grind.
Oh,
I like to grind. I want to grind. I wanted to get better. I want them to get better. That's how
Definitely.
it is. Yeah. So
So you gotta stay on that grind,
yeah,
right?
stay on the grind. The grind don't stop. That's what I say.
The grind don't stop. That's a good way to put it. I like it. So as you take that step as that leader, what are some ways that you've seen the team bond over the course of the last few weeks, or even maybe the last few months, and the way that they've come together since we've arrived back on campus?
Well, we did take a trip to the I don't remember.
Robbers Cave.
Robbers Cave,
Yeah.
that's what it is. So actually doing that and getting to know people, it helped a lot with our chemistry. Not
Awesome.
just outside, but also on the field. Last year, that's what we struggled on, is having that connection and
Right.
being able to be there for one another. So actually doing that and taking the time to be together, get to know each other, it created chemistry on and off the field. So that was just great. We all have a good chemistry. There's no drama or none of that. So it's good.
That's big time.
Yeah, that's big time, especially with girls, because girls.
Oh, I
really
know. Yeah, that can be a problem, but yeah, that's awesome to hear the team avoiding that, and certainly gives you more hope for the season that is to come. So what are your expectations for the season?
I of course want to go to nationals. I want to, accomplish a lot of things with this team, and I think we have it all. It's just us putting it on the field, us showing that we can do it. Like it's not impossible. So if we come to grind, we come to do what we got to do, we'll get stuff done.
Absolutely.
And you'll see that throughout the season. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I just want to ask you one more thing about a specific matchup from last year. I'm sure you remember it was an NCCA Central Regional semifinal matchup with Central Christian, a game that went into penalty kicks.
Yes, I remember.
Was a wild contest.
Oh, yes.
2-2 ends up going to penalty kicks where nobody missed.
Yeah.
Took a while for that to end, but you all finally got the 7-6 win in penalty kicks. I just want to ask you, what was it like playing in a game like that, and have you ever experienced another game like that?
Well, honestly, I haven't. I doing penalty kicks is like one of my not worst fears, but it's just I've had like past experience where I've missed my PK, and so like it's nerve wracking for me.
I'm sure.
So being able to get to that point and be one of those persons to take the PK and actually make my PK, it was good. I mean, we got lucky. It was a 50-50, of course. PKs are always 50-50s, but we came out with the win. So, like, it was a really good experience, and that team was, good. That game they went, they put everything out on the field, so it was just a really good game to play.
Yeah, it was exciting to watch, and just a great game of soccer out there that day, and definitely one as someone who covers the team won't forget, and really enjoyed covering that one and writing the recap. So it was a lot of fun watching that game, and maybe try to not go that far into PKs this time, and not avoid the heart attacks that might come from that.
Yeah, for sure. But it's the game.
Absolutely, and so we're excited to see where you all go this season. Excited to see you take your game to the next level, and excited for what is to come. So thank you for taking the time, MELO.
Thank you.
Absolutely, we're glad you're here. So we're going to take another short break, and then we're going to get Megan DeShazo on here in just a few minutes. So don't go anywhere. And we are back here at the women's soccer season preview. I am joined now by Megan DeShazo, a senior forward out of Sand Springs, team leader in goals last season with 9 goals on the year, also pitching in with 3 assists. Obviously, talked a little bit with Juan about you playing with him earlier at NOC Tonkawa. And did you follow him here to SCU, or did he follow you?
I followed him. He's the reason I'm kind of here.
So he's the reason got you here. So I guess you think he's a decent coach?
Yeah, I was actually planning on not continuing to play after JUCO, so I was going to be done. But he got me to come here, and I'm glad he did because it's been great.
Well, certainly has been great. You have been great out on the field during one season and I guess one game in.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about that. What has been the best part of your experience at SCU to this point?
I think for me, it's just like learning patience. I think it's been great, like coming here and meeting new people. But last year was a struggle, so I think me coming here, that's been like, I guess personally wise, that's been good.
That's awesome, and I think you being here has been good for the team and the school as a whole too. So so it's been, I guess, mutually good on both sides. So what are some things that you learned from last season that you can take with you into this new season?
I think, as well as patience, like bringing that to this season, I think will be good, and just learning leadership.
Yeah.
Skills has been good. We had to take a lot of leadership last year and help with the team, and this year has like helped with that a lot. And like with the new girls and everything too, they've been good, like learning leadership as well.
Absolutely. So obviously, yeah. Talking about leadership, that's a big part of I guess your role as a senior on the squad this year. What do you look as some of your main roles as a senior leader on the squad?
I think being a senior this year and a leader, like just kind of keeping everybody in check and making sure that we're all like being a team and like putting in our work.
Yeah.
A lot of us are like really competitive, so we want to win, we want to go to nationals. And so I think for the seniors and the leaders, like we want to stay on top of our players and like make sure that everyone's putting in the work at practice and showing up to class as well, like just making sure we're all accountable for everything.
Definitely.
And getting our work done.
Absolutely. Very, very important stuff, and that's great to have that accountability within the team. So obviously I've talked with MELO and Coach Juan about the COVID stuff, everything that's going on, and it's been really challenging for a lot of people, and obviously it's made things pretty difficult. I guess just to start off, how has it affected you personally?
Personally, like not a lot, but as a team, like we had to push preseason back a little bit. So, we were late getting here. And then, we didn't get to have scrimmages. So we kind of just got thrown into the season and we didn't get to like really play with each other before. And so just being thrown into our season was kind of a rough start, I guess.
Right.
We don't really get like the playing experience before going in. And then also, like Mel said, just protocols like wearing a mask and like all that stuff, like just having to be careful with what we're doing just to make sure that we can play.
Definitely. So has it had any effect on your ability to train for the past few months?
Like I said, it kind of just like push it back and then like being careful where we're going.
Right.
And like making sure like we're not going out and like doing silly things and like not being where we're supposed to be.
Right.
And that goes with like the other teams as well, like making sure that other teams are doing that as well so we can actually play like Mel said and have a season. Yeah,
absolutely. That's a key part of this, and certainly is it's kind of difficult knowing that you have to. It's not just about accountability within your team, but you also have to rely on other teams to follow their own protocol in such ways as well. So beyond just that, what are some specific things that you've been doing to prepare for this season, or what are some specific areas within your game that you've been looking to improve?
So kind of like Mel said, after we watched film with our first game, there are some things that, every player needs to work on. But me specifically, just making sure that I'm making my right runs and, like, finishing when I need to finish, which is all the time, obviously, as much as I can. But just kind of making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and, putting in my work to make sure that I'm working for the team and doing the best that I can for the team.
Definitely. Yeah, that's super important. And again, just going back to that leadership role that you and Mello are going to have on this team is really big. So I've asked both Juan and Mello about their expectations for the upcoming season. I know you talked about wanting to make nationals, but are there any other ways you would describe or any other goals specifically that you have for this season?
As a team, I just want to win. I'm super competitive, so winning is important, obviously. But I don't know, just making sure that like we grow together as a team and like have a like strong bond. Because like Mel said, last year was, I mean, not the best. So just making sure that we have better communication and chemistry within the team, and just working for each other.
Yeah.
I mean, you may not always end up on top, but like as long as we're all working together and being a team, like that's important to me.
Definitely. Well, you started off, you said, as a team. Does that mean you have some individual goals and expectations you're shooting for this year?
I mean, yeah, I always have individual goals. I want to always try and do better than I did last year.
Yeah.
So goal like.
So you got to get double-digit goals.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on. Yeah, that's definitely one of them. And just it's my senior season, so
Right.
I'm just trying to go out with a bang. So.
Definitely. We're excited to see that, but even though it is your senior season, that does not mean that the DESHAZO family will be done after this year. Obviously, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your sister, Demi. She is signed and on the team now as a freshman. Have you all had the opportunity to play on the same team before?
Yes. Growing up, we always played on the same team, same club team, and then we kind of parted ways there. But then in high school, we played together as senior and freshman again.
Okay.
So we were able to play in high school again. So it's cool being able to play with her one last time in college.
Absolutely. What is it? What can we expect from her in her style of play? Obviously, she's a defender. You're a forward, so you're
Right.
playing on opposite sides of the
Yeah.
field. But what have you seen from her before, and what can we expect to see from her?
So yeah, she plays center back. She is really smart with the ball. She makes really good decisions, and she's very calm. So she may not play like as fast as people, but she's very smart with her decisions and skills. So she'll play calm as can be and just get it out fast. And so,
That's awesome.
maybe not speed wise, but she's definitely smart up here. So
Hey, that's just what you need, especially as a defender back there,
Yeah.
making life a little bit easier for the keeper. So Megan, thank you for joining me this evening. Glad to have you, and looking forward to the upcoming season, and looking forward to see you go out and reach that double digit in goals and top what was an amazing season last year. So thank you again for joining us.
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to take one last short break, and we'll come back and we'll close it out. So don't go anywhere. Thank you all for joining us for tonight's women's soccer season preview. Season continues onward tomorrow in Muskogee for the first road contest of the year. That's versus Bacone at 3 p.m. I do want to announce for our home games this year, we will not have a live stream of games this year. Hoping to get highlights posted to YouTube shortly after the games. You can always follow along the action on Twitter. You can follow at SCU Women Soccer. You can also find the live stats on DAX Just Google DAX Women's Soccer, and then you can search for Southwestern Christian from there and be able to pull up all the live stats and follow along the action there. Of course, at all of our home games, we hope that you can join us out at Cagle Family Field along Route 66 on the west side of SCU campus. So we hope that you're able to join us there. And again, be sure to follow along on Twitter and double-check the schedules online at scueagles.com, as obviously with COVID and with the schedule being the way it is, everything remains up in the air, and schedules are subject to change. So make sure you are double-checking Twitter, double-checking social media, and double-checking the website in order to stay up to date on our schedule. So again, thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to bringing you an exciting season of SCU Women's Soccer. I've been your host, Phil Yance, Sports Information Director here at SCU. And as MELO said, keep grinding.